Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the this afternoon brief session about artificial intelligence. So, but before we start, let's look at some rules. If you want, we need some interaction. There will be some small quizzes. You can use the chat box or you can use the microphone. Which one do you feel more comfortable? And if the materials is copyrighted, no recordings or photos or sharing of the materials. However, this training will be recorded, so you can watch it again in the social media of Select. Okay, so we shall start. It will be like a brief introduction about AI. My name is Gilbert Esper. I'll be your host for 45 minutes. We will introduce artificial intelligence briefly. What is artificial intelligence? We all heard about artificial intelligence and these things, but we will look at it from different perspectives. Maybe there are some new terminologies. Maybe you will hear about it the first time and how to apply these things within your organizational context and how artificial intelligence is developing. Okay.
Recording in progress.
So the main course objectives for this afternoon is what is the meaning, scope, and stages of artificial intelligence, and how to apply artificial intelligence. Application of artificial intelligence through different industry, whether within the organizational context or within the medical industry, or when we create a certain robot, whatever it is. So we'll look at it in details. But before we start, let's look at some true or false questions. Okay. I need the participation from all just to have an idea about what we will go through this 45 minutes. The first one, artificial intelligence, AI general intelligence comprises systems with a human level intelligence, reasoning, thinking. In other words, the general intelligence of AI, it's similar to the level of a human intelligence. This is true or false, do you think?
No, it's false.
False. Okay.
Yes. Because artificial intelligence is related about how we can be decision makers. That's what I think.
Do you mean using artificial intelligence will help us to make better decisions?
Yes, and we need to have critical thinker more than we are smart or genius. That's what I think.
Yeah, correct. So, so you said it's wrong.
Yes.
The answer is false. So, how about the others? Do you agree with Iman? We're talking about artificial intelligence in general intelligence. Do you think that the machine level of intelligence is similar to the human intelligence, or somehow it's not possible? Iman said false. So Latifa, is that true? We have some true, some false. But actually, I will agree with Iman. It's for yes, comprises intelligence exceeded. But currently, when I agree with Iman when we talk about current artificial intelligence. Currently, the artificial intelligence, it doesn't reach to the level of a human intelligence. When we're talking about artificial intelligence, general intelligence, yes, it could become to the level. I'll explain later on what's the meaning of intelligence, what's the meaning of reasoning, how we extract information from the environment around us and take decisions. So, Iman, your answer is correct. Currently, artificial intelligence is not to the level of human, but when we talk about artificial general intelligence, which we don't have it till now, it could reach to the level, to this level. Other questions? We train the model. Training a model, we'll explain what the meaning of model later on, is the first step of unsupervised machine learning. Is it correct? What's the meaning of machine learning? Fine, Linda, you don't know, fine. How about the others? Iman?
I didn't really understand the meaning or the objective of this sentence.
Okay.
Train the model, machine learning.
Fine. Let's say, for example, there are steps of training a certain algorithm. There's steps when a machine going to take a decision. So we need to teach the machine. Okay, it's called machine learning. So it means we teach the machine, in other words. So there are steps. There are steps, what we need to do. So we train, we give some training to the machine, or there are first different steps. Is it the first step within this? Now we have some terminologies. I'll explain it later on. I will not explain it now. It's fine. Try your best to answer the questions. Later on, I'll explain all.
Okay.
So do you think this is the first step, or we start with something different? So we shall start training, like for example, we need to teach someone something. We start training for this person or no?
Yes, I think it's true.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, Nahla, you said no. So I agree, it's not the first step. Why? Because we need to look first. Yes, correct. Collecting the data. So we'll understand what we mean by data. So we collect the data first, we clean the data, and we start to train the model. Supervised machine learning uses a combination of labeled and unlabeled data. Do you think it's correct? Now here we talk about two things, unsupervised and supervised. So what that means, I'll explain it also later on, what the meaning of supervised learning or unsupervised. But let's look at supervised machine learning. Is it correct we use a combination of labeled data or unlabeled, or structured or not structured data? Structured data is ready to, it's clear, we can read it properly, it's labeled. Or we use one type of data. What do you think? Both? One? Both? So it's false, because we will discover later on what's the difference between unsupervised and supervised. Don't worry now, maybe new terminology, I'll explain it later on. Regression and classification are two types of supervised learning. True. Fadi, you said true, correct. I agree with you. Now we'll talk about regression and classification. Either we look at certain observation for a data, we need to classify it, or continuous data, we need to predict. So either will be regression or classification. Checking the quality of data is the first step in machine learning workflow. Oh, sorry. False. Yes, false. So as Nahla, I think, said before, it's collecting the data. So checking the quality of the data is not the first step. Python is the logical programming language used to develop expert systems. What do you think? Is it correct? False. Nahla, you said false. How about the others? Nahla, why did you said false about the Python? It's not a logical programming. We all heard about Python. We use in machine learning these things. So is there any other maybe syntax used? Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. Nahla, as you said, false. Python is not a logical programming. Okay, there are different types of syntax used to train the machine. So one of them is Python. So I'll explain later what are the other things. Python mainly is for developing machine learning, focusing on data science, but there are other different syntax used in artificial intelligence. Machine intelligence is based on abstract reasoning. I mean, the form of intelligence which you take decision based when you use your senses to check the facts. For example, if you tell me certain fact, I receive a report, for example, this is a report. So abstract reasoning, which means I will use my senses, I will use my, I will analyze it to take a decision. So it's called abstract reasoning. How about the machines? Use the same thing or no? Hamad, you said no, correct. So you're right, it's false. So to discover later on that when we talk about intelligence, there are different types of intelligence. So when we say about machine intelligence, that's totally different from human level intelligence, as we said before. Now, currently, AI general intelligence, we don't have it. We don't have the level of intelligence, which is equal to the level of the human intelligence. Artificial intelligence can be applied in organization using Internet of Things. This is another technology. It's called Internet of Things. I'll explain it later on also. So do you think, yeah, Renz, you said true. How about others? Correct, true. So we'll discover later on that AI separately alone sometimes is difficult to apply. So we'll use different types of technologies. We might use pervasive technology. We might use blockchain. Those are not artificial intelligence. There are other types of technology we can augment it with AI to make the AI work better within an organizational context. The multi-agent systems means we can autonomously, which means independently, run whole unit from machines, which means, in other words, we might use different intelligence systems. We develop systems, and those systems can run a certain department, let's say, or a supply chain. Could be they take decision independently, working together like a team. What do you think? True? True, correct. So we have an idea now. Some question. We'll explain it later on what that means and how AI works and what are the multi-agent systems and what is the expert systems, logical reasoning, etc. How about AI super intelligence? Is it already existing or not? Sure not, because already AI general intelligence is not existing. Super intelligence, which means one AI intelligence exceeded human intelligence. Currently, we don't have both of them, either general intelligence or super intelligence. So let's look at the meaning, the scope, and AI stages. First, let's analyze and decode what we mean by artificial intelligence. So first, the word artificial. What we mean by artificial? Let's explain it properly. We decode the meanings. Artificial, what that means? Something not man-made, correct. So it's a man-made. So correct, it's a man-made. So it's made by a human, not natural, not real. So this is the first part. Let's look at the second part. Intelligence. What's the meaning of intelligence? There are different forms, there are different meanings of intelligence. There's no one specific meaning. But in general, what's the meaning of intelligence? If we'll take it in a form of organization or something, intelligence. So ability, let's say intelligence is the ability to mental capability, yes, mental. Iman, you said very important part is the mental. This is the difference between the intelligence of a human. Here we're describing the human intelligence, mental. It might not be applicable to machines. So that means intelligence, it's the ability to interact and manipulate a certain environment. We'll explain later what we mean by environment. But you said it exactly, it's a mental capability. For example, if I have experience in a certain domain, I will be able to take a decision. For example, let's say to choose a supplier, if I'm working in purchasing, pay a customer, if I'm working as a finance. So this decision I take it is based on a certain experience, things, skills, which help me to take a decision. So this is form of intelligence to have a certain decision in a certain area. So that means intelligence is the ability to interact and manipulate one's environment, but intelligence that means require learning, correct? So if I have to be expert in a certain field, I need knowledge, I need skills, I need experience to be able to apply these things in a better decision-making. That means this is an intelligence. So that means the new learning knowledge will be applied somewhere. So if we replace this one, it will become artificial learning rather than artificial intelligence. So the focus here will be how to teach the machine to take a decision. So the elements of learning could be planning, you plan, you reason, you identify the facts, could be problem solving, perceive something, you generate a certain knowledge, and you take a decisions. So for artificial learning, that means we could replace it with artificial, for artificial intelligence, we could replace it with artificial learning. So let's look how this process will work. As you said, we need to take a decision. Let's say a certain decision. We need to take a certain decision. So this decision, we need to take it based on what? It could be based on what? Okay, I will take a decision, a certain decision. I'm a supplier, I'm a purchasing manager. I will take a decision to choose this one. Knowledge and experience, excellent. So knowledge and experience, if I go back here, I will put it here, knowledge. And experience. What else could be? Knowledge and experience. I've developed certain skills. And I will be able to understand the environment. For example, to take a certain decision to do something, I will interact with my manager maybe. I will interact with my colleague. I will understand certain circumstances. So I will perceive something. I will use my mental model to analyze these things, to deduce something, and I take a decision. So the decision, maybe I will not choose the supplier. The decision, maybe I will choose. Maybe, for example, we have experience, time, quality of the material. So that's why we take a decision. Maybe we don't have enough budget. The budget is enough, maybe not enough. So many factors will take it. So knowledge, experience, skills, and use my brain to analyze these informations and to deduce a certain perception. And based on this perception, I will take the decisions. So that means these knowledge, experience, and skills, I will use my mental model to be able to take a certain decisions. So I will apply this decision-making, an action here I take, supposed to be intelligence decision. What that means, because will be based on the knowledge, experience, and skills. But I use my mental model here to apply all these things together. Now, if we look at the machines, how can we delegate, let's say, this decision to the machine? How can the machine solve problems? How can take actions? How can devise and identify a certain opportunity? Action will be taken, which means some intelligence. How could I delegate these things to a machine? So what do you think? Let's say, for example, I will take the same decision, I will delegate it to a machine. It will take the same thing. It will decide, the machine, for example, if we can pay on time or not. Or the machine can decide if we choose the supplier or not, maybe because of certain history of not paying on time. Of the machine will decide of how can we segment a customer. The machine will decide if we buy the certain price of a stock at this price or not. So it's a decision the machine will take. So that means the machine is supposed to have knowledge, experience, and skills, correct? So if I want to delegate my process to machines, I need to transfer all these implicit knowledge, my experience, my skills into, so I need to quantify it in a sort of data. And the data, the machines will develop a certain model. It's a mathematical model because it's based on data and take a decision. So it could happen. But if we look at, even though it's the same decision taken, but different form of intelligence. Now, my decision was based on abstract reasoning, which means even though I have the information, even though I know these details, but I still using my senses to ensure, to verify the information. But the machine cannot do like that because it will not be based on abstract reasoning, rather it's logical truth. So whatever the data I will feed the machine in, the machine will consider this data as true, whether this is true or not. So it's based on the structure of the data rather than if it's really true or not. So if I feed the machines with the wrong data, the decision will be wrong. If I did not give the machine enough data, maybe the machines will not be able to generate that much observation of the situations. So to delegate my decision to the machine, I need to ensure that the data is enough, clean, quality data, and choose the proper model. Now, what's the meaning of model here? A certain algorithm using a certain syntax, such as, let's say, Python, with different libraries, etc., to change the machine. So the decision could be, let's say, shall we produce a certain product because there is a certain consumer behavior changes, or maybe shall we continue doing a certain decision, whatever it is. Now, what's the difference here? If the amount of data is big, it will be difficult for human to generate an observation of the situations. So let's say, for example, in this case, we need to identify what type of product we need to develop, what shell of services we need to focus on, what are the changes of consumer behavior. Maybe it's difficult for me, maybe just even though we'll have some experience and skills, maybe there are some, the information is not clear. So let's say, for example, if I will feed for a certain environment, let's say, for example, if I feed the machine with information, something like this, red, green, blue, whatever it is, orange, unstructured. So maybe it's difficult for me to identify and to extract a good observation about this data. It's about what? Maybe I'm not able to see the colors here. So the difference is by feeding the machine with some sort of algorithms, it's unsupervised, the machine will be able to identify similar features among all these data and cluster these. For example, the machine will be able to say, okay, this is the orange here. We have 1, 2, 3. So those are a group of customers which having similar behavior, maybe based on age group, maybe based on industry, maybe on certain characteristics. It will be able to identify that, yes, we have here red, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is different group of customers. They have different characteristics. We have here, for example, green, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is another thing. And then we have the blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the machine will be able here to cluster these unstructured, let's say, data and generate a better observation than me. I will not be able to do it by myself or my team. So this is where the machine can excel in certain things, which will help me, as you said before. I think Iman, she said before, to take a better decision. So I will delegate some of my work to the machines, for the aim is to help me to take a better decisions. Okay, especially when the data is very big, when there are no clear information about these things, so it could help in many things. So by generating this observation, so we can say that machine, when we then teach the machine with the aim of generating a better observation of a certain environment. So when I have this here, is better for me now. I can know that a certain product I can develop to target this type of customers, which will be different from this type of customers. So if applied properly, I could increase the sales, I can meet customer needs and wants, etc. So this is one of the example how could the machine learn by feeding a certain data and choosing the proper algorithm, many algorithm. So usually we categorize it into either we segmentation, we segment or categorize it, or something continuous. We need to predict. It could be the option difference. I need to predict future consumer behavior. I need to predict the stock price. I need to predict something else. So it will help you to take future also decisions. So could be segmentation, could be prediction, could be both of them. Now there are two types. Many times the data are clear. So it could be, I know all these details, but the data is very big. So to generate, even though the information is clear, the data is labeled, structured, with the machines would help me to take a better observation because of the ability to generate a better observation than me from a certain environment. So that means if the data is clear, call it labeled data, I will use some sort of something called supervised learning types of algorithm. If it's not clear, I will use unsupervised learning, which means the machine will be able to generate by feeding the data a lot of, and doing some training. So I will train the data about certain features and will be able to generate the output. Now, within the whole process from this one, first, we need data collection. Collecting the data. And this process, after that, you need to clean or data mining, clean the data, and then choose the appropriate model. Supervised, unsupervised, clustering, segmentation, prediction. Semi-supervised could be a bit of both, because it's not always the case that the data are 100% clean, 100 labeled, 100% unlabeled. It could be both. So I might use many machine learning models to use. Choosing the model up to this level here, from collecting the data from different sources, it could be many types of data. Cleaning, data mining, ensuring that the data is proper, the quality of the data, and then choosing a proper model. Many form of jobs working there. For example, it could be data analyst. It could be data engineer. And covering all these things is called data science. But till now, there is nothing about artificial intelligence. So mainly what we hear about is all about only data science. Data science, which means focusing on the data, collecting the data, cleaning the data, do data mining, and up to choosing a proper machine learning model. From this process onward here, from machine learning onward, which means the decision, this is called artificial intelligence, which means I will use all these information, maybe to develop a new system, maybe to develop an application, maybe to help the hospital to identify a possible virus infection. So that means there are two things. The data science was divided into data analyst, data engineering in general, up to machine learning. And from this step, from machine learning onward, this is another world. It could be robotics, it could be intelligent systems, totally different. Mainly, this level here used an object as Python language or syntax, which mainly related to the object, whether it's a computer vision, whether related to senses, sentiment analysis, etc. Yes, Noor, you have a question? Okay, if you have a question, you just type it. I will answer it. So from data collection, and this is actually the main job here. If the artificial intelligence engineer or the consultant receive wrong data, the application will be wrong. That's it. So within this process, you can see a new, let's say, domain has been created, new jobs has been emerged. It could be before. Is data mining? Yeah, it's part of it. Part of it, yeah. Cleaning the data and doing the data mining. For example, we look at the outliers, statistical methods. Yes, part of it. Data cleaning is part of data mining, both of them. Different terminologies. Within this process, from data analyst up to machine learning, mainly using statistical methods, mainly using some sort of statistics to apply these things. From machine learning onward, we develop a certain application. It could be intelligent system, multi-agent, etc. These things using totally different languages. Mainly, it's a combination of many things. I'll explain it later on when I reach the artificial intelligence. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, is the decision the machine took based on a certain data, which if someone don't know, they don't know who took the decision. Is it a human or a machine? So if we go back to this here, so it's a process of delegating my knowledge and experience and skills in the form of a data, and then using a certain model, and then it take a decision. And so that means the whole process called AI deployment patterns, AI deployment patterns. So it starts with mainly data collection, mining, engineering. So this is the input here. And then choosing a certain algorithm which will generate an observation of all these data, whether is it about customers, whether is about sentiment, which means it could be related to natural language processing, whatever it is. So I will generate a certain model here, transformation. It's called transformational process. And after that, it's ready for me to take a decision. Here, the application or deployment of a certain new application. Anything, maybe a new system to diagnose a possible virus infection. Application could be through cloud computing, for example. I can apply it online or within the organization, or through, for example, mobile, whatever it is. So this is the deployment. So the process of input, transformational, and output. So the whole process is called the new AI value chain. Okay, so deployment pattern. We started with a lot of data. So most of the work is in this part here, input. Most of the work. So it's called data science, which is up to machine learning. So within this, in the middle here, the transformation this is the shared, let's say, jobs between the artificial intelligence specialist and the data science specialist. So from input up to the choosing a model, mainly it's a statistical. From that point onward is becoming artificially intelligent. So that means we go back to defining the artificial intelligence here. So it's the capability of a machine to imitate human behavior. That doesn't mean become the same level, but different form of intelligence. Now, again, the machine intelligence is not abstract intelligence. So it's not use senses to justify, clarify the data. Whether the data is there, consider it true, whether it's true or not. Maybe I feed the wrong data. So, but the machine considering data, generate better observation of the data I fed the machine with. So that means if you look at the definition, there are many definitions, but the best one which reflect real artificial intelligence is a broad field of computer science that aims to create machines that have intelligence very much like human intelligence. What that means, that's the decision making, that's it. And the important, the work is autonomous and intelligence. Autonomous will be working independently. So I'll create a system and apply the system, for example, in inventory. So this intelligent system can manage the inventory, do the planning for the inventory independently and take a decision. So that's why it's working. If it doesn't work independently, it's not an intelligence. It's not a machine. So this is the work is autonomous and intelligence. Okay. So it's the science of making machines do things that would require intelligence if done by man. Okay, many definitions, but at the end, it all goes back to the same things. So artificial intelligence combines elements of both science and engineering. When we reach the level of application, we might use a robot. Robot need engineering. AI is not enough. I might need a certain, like for example, different systems working together. I need another technology to help those systems working together. Artificial intelligence is not enough. Machine learning is not enough. So AI combines elements of both science and engineering with focus on studying of developing real-world systems that act in a way that would appear to be intelligence to a human observer. Now, types of AI. Currently, with all these things, still it's very weak AI. That means very narrow. So, for example, a self-driving car, it is just a narrow focusing on a self-driving car. There is no general application of these things. With the use of IoT, with the use of many things, I'll explain later how this happened, I might develop certain narrow systems, but I will make them working together in a team. Okay, so systems that have learned to do specific tasks. It could be speech recognitions, mainly on natural language processing. Okay, I will feed the data, I will use deep learning, some sort of deep learning for speech recognition. And data analysis. Computer vision. It could be also computer vision, for example, many things. Now, currently, we are all talking about narrow AI. There is nothing more than narrow AI currently. General AI, a human level of intelligence and scope, systems that have learned to carry out different tasks. So I will train the model to do more than one task. One in inventory, at the same time working in accounting, there is nothing till now. It's just still fictional till now. So not yet exists. Super AI, this is one things exceeded the level of intelligence, also not exist. So currently what existing now is only the narrow level of AI, which we are already seeing everywhere. So that means it's a tool to help humans to take a better decision, to generate better observation of the environment, working together to facilitate the process, minimize time, reduce cost, enhance efficiency. Many factors, many things can be applied somewhere, reduce cost for the organizations also. Now, application of artificial intelligence. Now, within the application of artificial intelligence, this is the most important things. How can we apply artificial intelligence within organizations or within any area? So the first type is the cognitive intelligence based on big data. This is one we talk about. For example, we can manage stock and stores and marketplace, for example, inventory. We can manage simple command and chatbot responses. We process large amount of data, for example, I said about customers, offering prediction on future behavior of a certain, for example, if certain customers will be able to pay or not, if someone will take a loan from the bank. We can know that based on the previous history will be pay or not. It's all about data. So by data-driven machine learning, we can use many cognitive tasks which take a long time for a human to complete. That's the difference. It will take more time, and again, we generate a better observation of the data. I will not be able to generate it by myself. So it could be classification, for example, classify bank loan applications, identify the age of a certain person or background, NLP, sentiment analysis, mainly applied on social media, identifying consumer behavior. So mainly the main focus of this is object-oriented. Image, language, linguistics, speech recognition. So mainly this is where we feel everything is there. It's about this. So this is where the Python is used in this area. Now there is the other type of artificial intelligence, which is not that much popular, but this is, let's say, more important. So it's more important than, not more important, but its application mainly it's used in medical application. It's used in surgeries, which will help to identify certain things, which is almost difficult for a human to identify. For example, developing a medical system, medical diagnostic intelligence systems. Could we develop a certain, but this is totally based on logic. It's totally different from the other forms. The previous one we talk about cognitive intelligence, based on certain observation of an environment. This one is totally different. It's an expert system. So it will mimic, for example, a certain subject matter expert. Will take all the information, all the details from a certain expertise, and this system will start to work. So that's totally different language. It could be Prolog, it could be JSON language, different form of Python. So we can develop, for example, a medical diagnostic intelligence systems. It will help to identify certain areas which is difficult for human to identify. Stock price prediction. So it's based on logic and reasoning. Okay, so this is different form of AI. Another thing is AI by itself will not be able to, let's say, for example, augmenting AI with computer vision, with natural language processing, will help to let a certain robot work properly, sure, with engineers and these things. Okay, so for example, of augmenting AI with robots, visual data, computer vision, the robots start to sense, can see, hear, understand the speech, and interact based on these things. Many things applied here. AI part of it. AI part of the whole process. It can be applied through media, entertainment, healthcare, hospitality, and especially with the supply chain, also on manufacturing. There is another thing also, which is help the AI to become more applicable and more tangible, augmenting it with the Internet of Things. Internet of Things is sort of systems that can sense the environment and generate a certain perception and do a certain action. It could be, for example, identifying blood pressure, things together. So connecting all these things together and augmenting it with a certain form of intelligence, artificial intelligence, could help to apply all these things in the environment. I'll give you an example. So we can, for example, let's say we develop an intelligence system using logical reasoning to predict inventory level, for example. So this intelligence system, it could be a software, it could be a real physical, that doesn't have to be physical. So this system will look at the certain environment. This is the system. It will sense, extract the data around with the stakeholders, and evaluate these data, and take a decision, action here. And then the sense it will interact with another agent. For example, it could be inventory, for example, in an operation team. And the operation team is specialized maybe for identifying a certain level of raw material to manufacturing a new product. So it could be extract the same thing, evaluate, and take an action. Another agent, for example, maybe in procurement. So this will interact with this agent to ensure that. So all these are agents working together in an environment. So it could be a team. That's why it could be creating, it's called multi-agent system. Agent system. So we can use many types, for example, logical reasoning, such as prologue language, it's going to identify. Everyone is working independently and taking different decision from others, but they're working as a team. They're working, so they need communication, coordination, working together to work. So it could happen that by applying IoT here, Internet of Things, by connecting all these things together, applying some sort of computer vision, it could be NLP also, logical reasoning such as prologue, many things together, and using sensors and these things, we could reach a level where a whole or a big part of a certain supply chain working together, but need a proper communication, and everyone have different objectives, working autonomously, independently. No need for observation from a human, working together. And it's happening now. Actually, this is how one start to augment many things together, such as blockchain, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence together, where it can be applied. Now, that's why it's called industrial IoT. Industrial IoT, all these things start to be applied together using artificial intelligence. Now, this is just an example of just brief introductions for we have, that's why all these details is a very big subject, very comprehensive subject. So everyone have a lot of separate things to do. For example, learning how to develop an intelligent system is totally different from learning how to identify consumer behavior. The other one is data science. This one is totally artificial intelligence. So different sorts of language, how to do it. But everyone could help the organization to apply it anywhere. And at the end, how to deploy these things. Organization can develop a user-friendly system, application, online, whatever it is, and can have the organization to minimize transformational process, minimize time to market, reduce cost, many factors. So the subject is big, very big. Now, what we do in Select, we start to develop many courses, everyone is specialized in something. For example, if an organization, whatever it is, you want to develop an intelligent system, yes, we can help the team to develop an intelligent system and apply it, whatever it is. You want to apply it in inventory, you want to apply it in accounting, you want to apply it in HR, maybe augmenting many things together, even natural language processing, whatever it is, it could happen. Now, that's why next we will have a free session on October where I will develop an intelligence system, a medical intelligence system. I will develop a medical intelligence systems which will help to identify possible virus infection. So we'll see how the system works. We'll see it practically and live, how the systems, it will take almost 30 minutes to develop the systems. And this system can be used. And you can see that within 30 minutes, this system will be able to extract all this knowledge and apply it there and taking a better decision than the expert with a small system. Okay, so many things could be, artificial intelligence is a big subject. It starts from data science up to the robotics and multi-agent systems, expert system, and other things. Okay, so this is for today. It's just a brief explanation overview about it, but many details things. It could be customized, for example, for a certain products, etc. Let me see if you have any questions. I'm ready for any questions, any clarification. Okay, so next month we will have a free online course where I will develop an expert system. You can see by yourself how the system can identify a possible virus infection and how much is accurate will be the system. Okay, so thank you so much. This is for today. Just before, just let me know if you have more questions. I'm ready. Any questions? Fine. Okay, just if you can take 5 minutes to complete the poll here, I will launch it. Okay, as I said, it's very important to know that the courses we deliver is divided into technical and non-technical. Technical, where you can really develop something applicable. Non-technical, for example, if you're a manager or you are whatever in supply chain or a HR manager, you need to understand how organizations can apply and augment artificial intelligence within the organizations. Yes, it's also there. And also the courses can be customized based on your organization, based on industry. Artificial intelligence can be applied anywhere, whatever it is, can be applied anywhere. So thank you all for your time, and I hope you enjoyed. This is a very brief overview of a big subject, actually.